Hey,
Okay, we are live on YouTube.
Very good. Let's call the meeting to order. Madam Secretary, do we have a quorum?
We do.
Very good. Do we have members speaking?
We do. At some point, I need to approve minutes from the last board meeting.
Okay, let's do that now.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes from the December 15th, 2020 board meeting.
Second.
Okay, any discussion?
You mean the 16th?
Did I say the 15th? Yes, the 16th. I'm sorry.
It's got 19th on the agenda, so I don't know what date it was. But
That's for November.
yeah.
No, we're talking about the,
Talking about yesterday's meeting.
Yesterday.
December
Oh,
16th.
yesterday.
It is December 16th. I'm a day off.
If there are no questions or corrections, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
No one's opposed, motion carries. Okay, Secretary's report. I guess
You need to approve the November 19th minutes too.
yes,
You want those two? Okay. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the November 19th, 2020 meeting.
second,
Question, was that corrected with the motion to limit the number of families in the sauna?
no. I remember that.
I don't have record of such motion.
Well, we all remember it.
Okay, what was if you would like to email me the motion and who's second, I'll add it to the minutes.
I don't know who seconded it. I
remember
don't even know
being
who moved
discussion.
it.
didn't
I
think
just
it
know
was
it
a-
happened.
I recommend we restate the motion so that
Do
we're
it over again.
accurate.
Yeah, just do it over again.
Okay, we can do that in old business then.
Okay.
Yeah,
Lanny, remind me under old business and we'll do that motion. Okay. Let's go to President's report. I don't have a whole lot.
We
last-
need to do
members
members
speaking.
speaking.
You have members.
I'm
speaking,
sorry, we
Paul.
do have someone speaking?
You have two letters that Lydia's gonna read.
Okay, Linda, go ahead.
Okay, this is the first one. It's from John Antolino. Dear Messers, we are residents of Sterling Oaks. We love the community and truly enjoy participating in and supporting almost all Sterling Oaks Club events. We write this note in question to offer input regarding any decision you may be contemplating about opening the club dining facility. In casual conversations, several members, we are looking forward having it available for dining and therefore encourage a decision to open. We would also recommend extending the hours of the cabana. While we understand the concern with COVID, we know Sterling Oaks will follow the recommended safety measures. And this is another one, and this is from Kathleen Andolino. We're short-term residents at oh Lord. We're short-term residents. Minute. Okay. We're short-term residents at Sterling Oaks just over a year. We didn't purchase until after we heard that the club renovation had been approved. Certainly wished it had been more extensive. We have been very disappointed in what we believe is overly caution policies regarding indoor dining. So many clubs and certainly most restaurants have been open for some time now with health and safety practices visibly addressed. We know personally because we frequent them. Our money and those of our friends is being spent elsewhere. This is not at all what we expected after making the investment in a Sterling Oaks home. If some residents don't want to dine indoors, they don't have to. If you as board members don't want to dine indoors, you don't have to. Yesterday's presentation spoke about having a vision for present and future residents. It's time you took an open-minded look at where a large number of residents are eating dinner. It's not always in their kitchens. That's it.
Okay, no other members speaking?
No.
Okay, let's
No.
move to President's report. The last meeting, we accomplished quite a lot. We had some spirited discussion. So I'm going to remind everyone today to maintain civility as we deal with our fellow board members. Ask for the floor, let your colleagues speak, and try to be respectful in your tones. So with that, I believe you all received an email from Cezanne regarding a document for the strategic plan. After yesterday's meeting, which I thought was very well done, and I think we made an excellent choice in Jerry as a facilitator. So I would like to begin to use this template for the strategic plan, and I will include it as part of my report each month, so we can track where we are with this strategic plan and we can monitor our progress. So I'm concerned that this plan doesn't go on the shelf and we don't look at it again. We've spent over a year on this and it's an excellent document. So it's a living document, and by this form, we'll keep it alive and we'll keep it monitored on a daily basis. So with that, that's all I have. I'm looking forward to a swift meeting today, but who knows? Terry.
Yes, thank you. I'm speaking specifically about the plan that was discussed yesterday. And number 3 on this plan was the cabana upgrades or replacement. And as you know, I put forth my plan. And subsequent to that, Lanny came back with a plan A change, which I reviewed very much, Lanny, and I was very, very happy to take a look and see. And if the monies were similar, I would prefer that plan than the one that we're talking about. And the reason why I bring it up now is that we have in our program different committees supposedly to work on various aspects. And since 56% of the people said that we should go for the upgraded cabana in one form or another, I think it's kind of important for us to go forward, especially when we were in the final phases of finishing out the debt that we have. By next summer, we should have it all completed, which means we shouldn't wait until then to start this process. We should start the process now so that we're able to do it in a function that we can say to the community, we've lived up to our expectation and your expectation in this plan.
Okay, any comment? All right, I think what we'll do, Terry, is we'll set up some project teams, and that could be one of them, to explore that area. And of course, timing is of the essence with this, depending on where you stand with the concept and idea. So we'll come together, and as you look the strategic plan over, there are a number of project teams that need to be developed and some assignments we need to give to certain committees, standing committees. So we will review that and we'll take it up in the executive committee and talk about project teams and committee assignments for the strategic plan. Okay, manager's report.
You all have my report, so this is more or less for the people that are may or may not be looking at the YouTube or will in the future. So it's the end of the year, and I'd just like to thank all of you at the board level and the committees and the staff for all you've done for Sterling Oaks over this past year, especially in the face of the pandemic, the uncertainty of the business, and the financial impacts. Sterling Oaks has stayed financially strong and maintained a strong tennis membership and sustained progressive momentum with a strategic plan. So I think that that's all speaks volumes for the progressive nature and the strength that we have as a community. It's really a blessing. You know, I really look forward to next year and continuing with a strategic plan. I think that yes, Jerry was a great pick, and I'm sure that other clubs that have used him will say the same. I've gotten several calls from other clubs asking me about references for him. So it's been a good networking situation for all of the bundled communities that are in the area. Just to reiterate on the projects that we've gone through this year, we've done a lot of landscaping replacements, about $50,000 worth. We've renovated the cabana restrooms in the bar area. We've added new pool furniture in several areas. We updated the street signs this year that were starting to peel and starting to look bad. We put in the radar speed signs, which I think have been a great help. And I'll tell you what I see them more than anything is the vendors that come through the community. They seem to really pay attention to those. And I think that helps because some of those people seem to be a little more of the people that we found speeding from time to time simply because they were new to the community. We did erect the new pool pavilion shade shelter, which I think is going to be a hot spot as time goes on. It's very well received at this point in time. We did more of the road resurfacing and repaving, and we still have a little bit of that to go, but we have money in the reserves when and if we decide to move forward with that. We got the approval from the county for both the pickleball and the additional bocce courts. And of course, we're looking at right now, the pickleball court is in permitting. The notice of commencement has been filed, and that is under a, I guess, the train has left the station, and I guess is what I want to say there. We also rolled out the mobile website app, which I think is very handy on my phone. Makes it very quickly to get into things, and I think that was a great move for us strategically to kind of move forward with the times that are at hand. And that's all been done under the current budget and within the current reserves. So the upcoming projects, of course, are for the condo fence line on that northwestern border. It's also going to continue on the southern border so that the entire front entrance fencing will wrap around both the borders on the US 41 side. I think that'll complete a look, and it'll look much better than it does today and give some sense of security to the condo owners and to the rest of the community. Also, as I mentioned, the pickleball court, which is going to be going in probably, I would imagine it's going to start construction in January. And that concludes my report. If you have any questions, let me know.
Thank you, Mark. It has been a remarkable year. We've made much progress. Okay.
Paul?
Yes.
Paul,
I'm sorry. Let's go Brownie, Lanny, and then Chap.
First of all, I noticed Paul went about 5,000 miles from the sun to the northern lights. That's a quick trip, Paul. Okay. But anyway, my comment was, again, Mark would suggest we move the speed sign that's out toward the back gate, either by the preserve or by that open area, where the drainage is. I walk my dog 3 or 4 times a day. The big speeding problem is in those 2 stretches. I still think where we have it now, first of all, there's no homes there, so there's less people. And then on top of that, you have the curves a little bit anyway. I would like to see that one moved either along where the preserve is or where the open, the drainage area is in that next one.
Are you talking a little closer to the entrance to Sanctuary Point down there?
Well, there are 2 places where they're, not houses. You don't want to put it in front of a house. So
Correct.
on the right side by the preserve or on the right side by the drainage area.
Okay,
But those are the two areas that, trust me, that people go the fastest.
all right.
Plus
Thank
there
you.
are houses there too. There's several kids. There's been, one family with the kids playing in the streets in the last couple of weeks. And I don't know, it's to me, it'd make more sense to put there.
That's fine. They're mobile, so we can do that.
And as far as I can tell, they've been effective. Do you have the same feedback, Brownie?
Well, they're effective there, but then once they get past there, it doesn't slow them up in those two areas I'm talking about, which is really where they go the fastest. And it's really straight stretches where, they tend to go a little faster, particularly in the morning when people are going to work. The boy, they really, they're late for work. They really speed out.
I have gotten one complaint from a resident that indicates we should raise the speed limit because it's too low.
Well, I would agree it should be 20. I have to ride my brake to stay at 15. Okay.
Yeah,
My car runs at 20, but in order to get it down to 15, I have to actually ride the brake. Okay. So
but as I mentioned to that person, if you raise it to 20, then they'll think 30 is okay. So Lanny, then Chap, then John Mihok.
Mark, my question is about Brightview. They're 2 weeks late already here in Willow Bend in pruning. Their website hasn't been updated for a week and a half, but it indicates that they'll be doing Sanctuary Point soon. That probably means it's going to be another week or two before they get to Willow Bend. What's the problem? I thought they were going to fix this.
I have not received any of that. My understanding is they're on track and on time.
It's
I have,
it's
when I
7
did,
weeks
when I did
today.
the drive, I did not hear, as I drove through Willow Bend, I did not get the point that they haven't been there for 2 months. That they were there
No,
4 weeks ago. So
It's been 7 weeks, so they're 2 weeks late.
well,
They must be 2 weeks late everywhere else too.
not that I know of. I know that they've been on top and they're in Sanctuary Point. They finished Wildcat just the other day, and they're on their track as far as I know. So that's something I'd have to get back and find out what exactly dates that they were into those various neighborhoods, because I've been driving with them every Monday. I've been getting the QSAs for them every week, and I almost get daily updates as far as where they are. I met with Billy and James yesterday, so I'm not really sure. I'm not hearing that they're behind. Is anybody else in Deer Creek or Brownie down in Sanctuary? They've already gone through down there, haven't they?
looks like to me, we've been trimmed pretty lately and they've been mowing. I haven't noticed anything not done.
Yeah, I haven't gotten anything from that. Well, I'll check on that certainly, Lanny.
Check on it because it's been 7 weeks today.
Yeah,
Lanny, what makes you think that they haven't been there or they're late?
I have it on my calendar when they were here the last time 7 weeks ago, and I know they haven't been here since.
But you're
I
talking
saw them
about,
in there though the other day. I don't know whether or not they're. Is it just because they haven't been in your area? I mean, I've driven around in there. I haven't seen the bushes being out of hand or growth. So I'm not sure, but I'll check on it for sure.
Well, they're supposed to be here every 5 weeks, and it's been 7, and
Yeah,
we're paying for them to be here every 5 weeks.
Yeah, that's something because they're on track with everywhere else that I've been in. Deer Creek, everywhere else, I know that they've been on track and they caught up when they were supposed to. So I'll just check on it and I'll find out exactly
Okay.
when they were last time they were in there.
Lanny, clarify this for me. Is
Yes.
it that you have not seen them, or is it that the trimming has not been done?
The trimming has not been done for 7 weeks.
Okay,
it must just
They
be
did-
your area then. Okay.
They did a nice job 7 weeks ago, but it's supposed to be every 5 weeks.
It is.
And they haven't gotten here yet. And when I look on the website, they say that starting on the 3rd, they were going to work on Sanctuary. If they're going to do Sanctuary and then Deer Creek, I haven't heard from anyone this week in Deer Creek. We don't have anyone on the board.
Okay.
Have they been in the preserve this week, Terry?
I don't know. I'm in New Jersey, so I haven't.
Oh,
been
sorry. Yeah,
Follow
I
up.
forgot.
All right, Mark will follow up on that. Let's go to Chap, then John Miho.
I got two things. One's for Brownie and one's for Mark. I want to follow up on what Brownie said about the speed thing. I think our effort has been very successful, and I would more than willingly support if we need another one. Let's buy another one rather than move one. So if anyone feels the same, why don't we just buy another one?
Well, I guess my concern would be just sign pollution in the neighborhoods. I think practically it's probably a good idea, but I don't know if I'd like a whole mess of them around the community.
Oh,
John,
Yeah, I was going to make a comment on the speed signs myself and saying, rather than move that one, it seems to be doing a good job. Why don't we get a third one where Brownie feels that there's more serious speeding going on? So I echo what Chap was saying. I would say let's get an additional one.
Terry, and then
yeah.
Lanny.
I'm not so sure we need another one. My concern is that it's very, very mobile. So as Brownie had asked, move it into that area, leave it there for a while, then move it back. I mean, there's no reason why we can't move these things around the community so that people can get a view of this from different places. That's what they're there for. They're mobile. Before we go and spend another $7,000?
Yeah, I would prefer that tactic also. I'm not sure they're the most aesthetically pleasing thing to have in the community. Lanny,
I support getting a third one.
Lindia,
I think we should move them around. I think we paid a little more so that they could be mobile. And I think we should try what Brownie said. I think people do speed going out to that back gate. And I also think once in a while you ought to move one into the condo areas.
Sure.
I'm not even sure where the second one is now because I never see it in the routes that I take.
Wildcat.
Oh.
Michael.
I was going to agree with Brownie. I think we need to move it. I think the current location of it is sort of obscure. And with the curves in there, I don't think speeding is a real issue for that area.
Good. All right, let's try moving it and see if we can't get some results that way first. And then we'll keep in mind the addition of a third one.
Okay, this for Mark, where do we stand on the roll downs?
The roll downs are in production, and we're just trying to work on getting the actual color of the shade to their Jim has been out. When he gave me his color palette, which is these here, it does not have a silver in it or the pearl onyx. So when I asked him to look into the colors that he sent us on the website, which he did, which we've all looked at, he's trying to get a number for that to go to these the company to actually order that specific color. So he was supposed to visit with me, and hopefully he'll be here tomorrow so that we can get that going. But the actual boxes and mechanisms, because they are all specific size limits, are in production right now.
Good. Well, I agree. Let's follow up with him on that and see if we can't get him cracking.
Got it.
Okay. Anything else regarding Mark's report? If not, let's go to treasurers.
I'm sorry, one more question.
Go ahead.
I know that several homeowners were concerned about problems with the Gatehouse app. Have they been corrected?
Gatehouse app.
Yeah, accessing the Gatehouse app on phones.
My understanding is that, well, I should let Mark and Cezanne explain this, but sometimes our residents are confused and sometimes they give the wrong address. And then they blame the gatehouse for the problem when in fact, the address they gave them was off. That happens a lot. But I'll let Cezanne and Mark deal with it because they see it almost daily.
I mean, we've talked to Casey, we've talked to everybody. A lot of times, you know, if well, I can only say what I said in the FYI is that if the guard is busy and happens to write down the name of the person that was let in on their list, sometimes they will mistakenly, and this is rare, go ahead and write down John Smith when they bring up the person's name. In other words, they'll go, the way the place works is that you go, when you call in or put it on your voicemail, put it on the website or go through the mobile app, that when the guest comes to the gate, they say their name and the address that they're going to. The guard goes ahead and hits the button and it speaks, you know, or tells them the name of the person that's coming to they give them the pass and the way they go. When they go back and they enter the person in that entered, sometimes they'll inadvertently put it on the wrong address because they've got 50 addresses on the screen. All that does is it logged the person in. It doesn't mean that they go on to the guest list. And so sometimes people will look at their guest list and go, who let John Smith into my house? Well, John Smith wasn't coming to your house. He was probably going to the house above that's on the line above yours. The guard was busy. It doesn't mean that he has access or entrance rights to this, to the community. Again, it was only to log in the fact that the person came through the gate. So that was probably part of the mistake. And we do have some of the individuals giving us the wrong address as well, especially if they're either get a couple numbers mixed up or they're new to the property. So, but we're on top of it and we're dealing with the guards on a daily basis.
Okay, any other questions of Mark and his report? If not, let's go to treasurer's report. Chap, please.
Well, I got the numbers yesterday, as usual. I have two things to tell you before I share with you the numbers. The things to tell you are that our delinquencies remain very reasonable, and we have no big ones, so not to worry there. And the second thing I have to tell you is that the forgiveness for the PPP loan, that process is underway. It's being handled primarily by Geraldine and Mark. So now let me tell you the numbers through November. Our operating cash is very strong. We have, as of December 1st, $529,000 in operating cash. Our construction loan has been paid down to $220,000. It should be paid off completely in the next 10 months. What I call the enterprise P&L year-to-date is a loss of $9,000, which is $18,000 better than budget year-to-date. Tennis continues to do well. They've got a profit year-to-date of $26,000, which is $16,000 better than budget. Food and beverage and activities gets better, a little bit better every month. Year-to-date, it's a loss of $146,000, which is $22,000 worse than budget year-to-date. There's really nothing new on condo, water, and utilities. just briefly tell you, year to date, it's $20,000 worth in budget, worse than budget. I also want to tell you that our single family home landscaping also showing a deficit to budget year to date. We're going to be able to cover both those deficits without having to deal with any kind of assessments. And furthermore, it'd be unfair to single out the condo water for an assessment and leave out the single family home landscaping or vice versa. So the bottom line is, I don't think I'll be coming to you after the first of the year and asking you for an assessment to solve either one of those problems. And that's all I have to say.
Lanny, then Terry, and then John Miho.
Chap, tell us more about the landscaping. We hadn't heard about an overage there. Why is that not being budget neutral?
I think there's two reasons. Number one is spent quite a bit more money than we anticipated on irrigation repairs. And secondly, when we budgeted for landscaping for the single family homes for this year over a year ago, I don't think we used the right numbers for Brightview. And those are the two reasons.
Just a follow-up, the irrigation, I thought that homeowners are paying for at anything that's not on common property. So why would that get charged to homeowners if it's a common pipe issue?
I think that's just the budget area where it falls. And that's all I can tell you. Can you help me at all, Mark? Or
I just know that the irrigation repairs throughout the community, even on common areas, has been larger than in years past. We have had several mainline breaks throughout the community. There's been a lot more repairs to the existing pipelines than Leo's was doing. They were very cautious, and of course they did not do a lot of that. So we are finding places that have been leaking for a long time actually
Right.
getting repaired now. So, and these actually some of these are out on the front, out on 41 in front of the side on the sidewalk outside. Where the irrigation is out there, we found leaks. David Hill actually brought that to our attention, and we just thought it was the water in the ditch, but it was actually irrigation water, which is coming from the lakes. So there has been a lot of repairs, and I think that's one of the areas that really hit us the hardest.
Right, but all of that, none of that should go under single family homeowners bill. So I just ask that the finance committee take a look at that.
no, I think that's simply, Lanny, I think that's simply a matter of where in our bookkeeping stuff like that falls.
Right, but because you're saying the condo owners aren't going to have to pay for their water because single family homeowners, you're charging this to single family homeowners, but it shouldn't be charged to single family homeowners. It should be charged to the whole community. So I think we need to look at
Well, look, at any way you slice it, we've got more than enough money to cover these deficits. And I don't see why we'd ever want to think about not doing that.
Well,
You can
in
do
the
line
past-
item transfers in any budget, and I think that's what Chap is saying. Let's go to
Right.
Terry, and then John, and then Lindia.
Yeah, I think I speak for most of the people in the community, Chap, that you and your finance committee has done a wonderful job this year in the pandemic to not only keep us afloat, but allow us to spend monies and get things done and keep us fiduciarily sound. And for that, I want you to please tell Jim and his group and you and yours, thank you so much.
Thank
John
you.
Mihok and then Lindia.
Yeah, I want to go back to the condo water problem. I mean, last year, it was covered, and now it was supposed to be rectified this year. Now we're saying that we're going to have another $20,000 plus over it. And my question is, what are we doing here? Are we just taking
Yeah, I know what
out
your
of the
question is.
single family HOA fees and covering the water, or I'm just.
Yeah, let me answer your question. As you know, we had a deficit last year and we just ate it, okay?
Right.
When the budget for this year was done, which I didn't do, I don't think that budget accurately reflected the history, particularly the year before. Okay, that's why we have a deficit again. I can tell you this, that next year we jacked up those charges in the budget and in the assessments to cover this. So I don't anticipate it's going to happen next year.
Lindia.
Does that
Yeah.
answer your question?
Yes,
Sort of.
I seem to recall that one of the reasons they were going to cover the condo water was that also there was some problem or some discussion about pine straw and mulch and the difference and all that, and that the community decided that that would be covered. There was something included about that in the budget where
That was-
the homeowners.
That
What
was
was
for
that?
2019. That happened in 2019. And yes, that's why you didn't have to pay for your water last year.
I'm not talking about, no, I'm talking about this year. There was something that was done where the families were, the single family homes, or I can look it up in the minutes. It was decided that they would have something included and covered by the budget. Is that not true, Chuck?
Um,
I don't really know what you're referring to.
I'm pretty sure I do, Lindia. A year ago, just about this time, it was recognized that single-family homeowners were undercharged for mulch because they had used a projected figure in the budget rather than an actual figure. So this year, last time, single-family homeowners owed a little more and condo people owed a little more. So last year, there wasn't an assessment either way, but 2 years ago and 3 years ago, condos paid for the extra water, and it seems to be a repeated annual problem that that budget doesn't come out right. And I second John's statement. If in fact the irrigation is all community responsibility, single-family homeowners shouldn't be paying for the condo water. Even if you've got the money, chap, it shouldn't come from the other people. We pay for our own water. They need to pay for their own water.
I agree.
And I will even agree more because Sanctuary Point homeowners and some of the Deer Creek even pay for the irrigation water that the others don't, but we have to
Right.
pay for that system. So I agree completely. I don't care if it was 10,000, it shouldn't be eaten by the homeowners, particularly for the reasons Laney said, and then for Sanctuary Point, it's even worse because we don't even get the free irrigation water like everybody else does.
Let's go to Jack McBurney, then Lindia.
I would first say that we have an old system that moves water around this community. We have no way to isolate different sections of the system. And so every time there's an issue with water in the community, which the condos and coach homes are in fact part of, okay, it's blamed on the condos and coach homes. I don't know that we don't know that there are common area problems with the water line that get associated with the condos and coach homes, because no one understands the piping system in this community completely, I'm sure. There are no isolation valves. There are no good ways to maintain and operate and find leaks in this system. And that's
Not that, you can't even meter it.
well, exactly.
You can't separate the meters.
So, but that's what I'm suggesting is maybe
Right.
we need to take a deeper look at how the system runs and where our faults, and there may be leaks all over the place. I don't know, but nobody knows for sure what's going on. So you can.
And the other variable, is how much irrigation is going on in the common areas near the coach homes and condos that are getting charged off to the condos and coach homes. And I think that may be significant. Lindy, let's go to you.
And
Irrigation
also-
water comes from the ponds.
And all,
We're talking about public water.
Yeah.
Lindy,
I'm
go ahead.
confused. I'm confused. The water that goes to the condo should have a meter. It's not tied in. I don't think it was tied into anything about the irrigation or anything else.
so
Well,
we had a
that's what we
break.
don't know.
That's what we don't know. And we had a big break last year and it ran for 3 to 5 days and then a valve was broken. Those were all, Mark can tell you more about that. And that was not irrigation water. That was water that got charged to the condos.
Are you telling me there's not a meter for the condo areas? If it breaks between there and the condo areas, it's for the condos. If it breaks up line, that's with the water company. I don't
Mark,
Well,
understand.
how is
what do you
Mark-
want me to tell you?
Mark, explain to everyone how it's determined the condo water use and where the hell that water comes from.
You're at the condominium mailboxes. And you're standing there and you look around behind you, you'll see a 8-inch green pipe with valves on it that was leaking until today when we actually had Collier come out and just twist the valve down a little bit. Redid the backing. So Paul, your leak is fixed. That was before the meter. Everything past that green pipe that goes into any of the multi-unit development, the condos, coach homes, whatever, is metered there. And that total bill is what comes to us as the condo water and sewer,
Where's that water coming from?
Collier County.
It's
Where's
not
the water-
coming from our ponds. It's coming from the county.
What's the
Account-
source of water to the clubhouse?
You got to understand that there is no condos or clubhouse or common areas is being irrigated with city Collier County
Well,
water.
let's forget irrigation. Forget irrigation for a minute, because
And
irrigation is
only
not.
that all water that is potable that you drink or shower with in the community comes from Collier County utilities. The condos and coach homes, the meter is specific to that one big pipe. 304 units that are using any form of potable water and sewer. And I can only tell you that the sewer charges are probably 1.5 times the water usage. So that anybody washing their car or doing anything else with that water, they're being charged a sewerage rate as well. But that whole
Well, wait a minute. If car water is in a sewer, it goes to the pond.
it goes into the pond, but they charge
get
you the
charged-
sewerage anyways.
All
So
right, so we finally understand this.
Well, no, I don't think we understand where's the water bill for the community, your office building, Mark? Where does that come from? Is that
that
separate?
meter's right out here by the sidewalk. And
Okay.
it's a 1.5 inch valve. And we have that feeds that. We have another 3/4 inch line that feeds the cabana and the pool to keep
All right,
it.
so we got a bad design basically of a water system.
So I
No
can only
way.
say that there's the individual buildings within the condo and coach home areas do not have their own meters. There are very few of those buildings that actually have a water shutoff in the
Right.
street that you can turn that water off and isolate that building. We've asked, I think it was a few years back or more, that all buildings spend the money and effort to get those isolation valves. We did have a couple of the associations that went ahead and did it, and they put in those isolation valves. However, there are several that are not. So if there's a main leak somewhere under the road, somewhere down the line, in somebody's house, somebody's running, toilets running, showers running, all of that is being added to the bill of the condominium as a whole. It's a Three Musketeer approach down there, and it's that's what's costing you the money.
What we understand finally is that every resident's potable water comes from the county.
Correct.
The overage that we're talking about for the condos is the charge from the county for potable water, which
And sewer.
includes, as does my bill, as a sewer charge.
Correct.
And the fact is that the bill year to date for condo potable water is $18,000 over budget.
Terry,
Now,
Yeah, I think where the issue is, Jack, is that there's only one valve with a meter for 300 some odd people between the patio homes and the condo homes. So everybody gets a fair share of the bill, basically. And unfortunately, those that are taking advantage of it actually make out because they're not paying for the extra water they use. I mean, if they wash their car every other day, who's going to stop them?
Mark, what's the
That
name
is correct.
of the valve?
Can I,
What's the name of the valve?
The meter is right there. If it's right at the base of that large green pipe, there's a valve box there with a meter in it, and you can see it spinning around, and they read that just like they do the rest of the meters in.
You were saying that earlier there was a campaign to get the condos and coach homes to install valves.
Yes.
What is the
But
name of
those
the
are-
valve?
Well, those are just shut-off valves
Right.
but not meters.
They don't affect the meter because they're not
No.
going to put a meter by every valve.
And we've got a
Correct.
shut-off valve.
You cannot, in fact, the Collier County, we asked them if they would meter the buildings. They said no,
Right.
because it wasn't part of the original construction design.
I remember that discussion.
all
And
right,
the,
so how about,
And the
How about-
associations buy their own meters.
well, I mean, until I have a problem defined, I'm not going to solve a problem because I don't think we understand this problem completely. And I'd like to volunteer to be responsible for helping, working with CHAP and whoever else is there to understand the details and to see what is known and what is just speculation.
Well, we
Okay,
know one thing for sure. We're going to be paying off whatever that bill is this year. But next year, it's budgeted in there so that we shouldn't have
Right.
an extreme situation. But of
Yeah,
course.
that's
that
what we
doesn't
said
answer the
last
problem.
year.
Right.
Huh?
But the budget is different this year.
And
The
2
budget
years
for
ago,
2021
John,
versus 2020. 2020, we're picking up the bill. 2021, we're going to raise it.
No, we haven't
2020.
agreed to pick it up.
I don't know where the number came from for 2020 for condo water. I don't know where it
So
came
why don't we
from.
have that discussion and report back next month?
I don't
All
know
right,
where it
Jack.
came from. I
So
was not
Jack
the
will-
treasurer. I don't know.
you'll take this on, Jack, look into it. Lindy,
All I
will
can
you
tell you
assist?
is for 2020, for 2021, it's I think it's done right.
Yes. I will assist, Paul. And
And
I will
I
say,
will also, so the
I-
three of us can
Yes.
see if we can get a
I-
handle on this.
I just
Well,
want to say that it was $20,000 over last year for whatever reasons. The bills might have gone up, who knows? The price of water and sewage. But we in the condos did not draw up the budget for 2020. So you have to budget for what you expect. It shouldn't be off 20,000 again if it was off 20,000 last year. So the budget's got to be correct, and CHOP is telling us that it has been corrected for 2021. But I
That's
don't think
correct.
condo owners should suffer now when we have no input into that budget.
We're not going to do that. We're not
But
going to
listen.
have them suffer. We
Okay,
can't.
Lanny, you have the floor.
Lindia, if my water bill is higher than I budgeted, I still have to pay my water bill.
Yes.
I don't
Because
expect
it's
the
your
condos-
water bill. It's your water bill.
May I finish, please?
Go.
So my
Okay.
water bill I pay for. I don't understand why you're asking the rest of the community to pay for condo water bills. I understand it wasn't budgeted correctly throughout the year. You, as the representative on the board, did have the opportunity to adjust the budget when we made it a year ago. So to say you have no input isn't correct. You had the opportunity to change it. You left it the way it was, and it's not right to ask the single family homeowners to pay for that now. I'd like to move that the condo owners
And patio homes.
the condo and coach home owners
Right.
need to pay for their excess water bill for, at the end of 2020.
I think what Linda is saying, we knew we had a problem before. We were assured it would be corrected in the new budget, and apparently it hasn't. So what happened?
Well, let me
Then
Well, we have a
correct it.
motion.
I made a motion. I'd like to know if there's a second.
I second.
Thank you. Well, I mean, and.
So what's the
and Paul, I
purpose
think
of
the
me
answer-
having it? What's the purpose of me finding out what's the matter? If you're going to make a motion to do something that's preemptive.
Well,
Because the same
Never,
problem.
I know what
happened-
because is.
Right,
May I finish?
let's, if you have the floor, you have the floor. Please don't interrupt.
May I answer John's
Go
question?
ahead, please.
I think it sounds like that none of you are positive that this isn't going to happen again next year. And if your water isn't shut off quickly, one thing that I do recommend is you can save the sewage charge component of a major water leak once every 6 months. If you immediately write Collier Water and say that there was a leak, that the water drained into the pond, that none of it went into their sewers, if that's the case for you. I know when I have it in the garden, that's the case. So you can save a lot of that money if you do that, but you have to do it within 30 days. But so I do think that you need to keep looking into it so you find out how to address this. But 2 years ago, we did the same thing. You paid for your water at the end of the year. 3 years ago, we did the same thing.
Not
Every
true.
year, you seem to use more water than is projected. And you've been happy with those budgets, but you can certainly change it anytime. But I think for 2020, you need to pay your water bill just like the single family homeowners are.
Well, that's fine, and Jack is going to look into this. Lindia will, and so will I. But you can't adjust the budget by $20,000 one year because we're over. Adjust it to $20,000 more, and we're still $20,000 over. Something's not right.
Well, we have a motion on the floor, so we need to dispose of it one way or another, Paul.
I've had my hand up about 5
Go-
minutes.
Go ahead, Brownie, then we'll go to chat.
Okay, first of all, Mark explained it very good. I don't know what there is to study. Every homeowner has a meter. The water that goes into the clubhouse has a meter, and there's 1 meter for the condos. There's no issue where the county water is coming from and who's getting it. As Lanny has said, the homeowners pay a bill. If with what Brightview's been doing with my controller, boy, I'm going to probably run a couple $100 over what I expected this year for water. I have to pay for it. If it leaks, I have to pay for it. Now, the problem is you'll never know exactly what your water bill is. You can budget it 10 different ways until the end of the year, it's whatever it costs. The same way with my water bill. So the problem is we can put a number in the budget, and even though we have it corrected for 21, there might be a big leak in the condo area downstream of the meter, and they would run over that. So we can't really control what the water is. We can put a number in and try to guess, but I'm with Lanny. When we get to the end of the year, you got to pay your water bill just like all the homeowners do. And there's no reason the homeowners should pick up whatever was in the other. The real problem is it's budgeting something for the condos that only for the condos, having it in the master. Somehow it'll really be in the condo assessments themselves. We shouldn't have that in our assessment.
Jack,
That's really the problem, the way it's budgeted.
No, the problem is when you have a leak in your house, you can find it and address it. If there's a leak in any property in the condo community, whether we live there or not, we don't even know there's a leak. So, and so you could, if you put isolation valves in places, you can isolate the problem to different areas, but no one knows if there's a problem with water demand and leaks, or if there's a problem with budgeting process. And
it doesn't matter, Jack. It's still your responsibility. It's not the homeowner's responsibility. That's fine. That's true, but we can't control it. Okay.
yeah, I don't think we're arguing that.
And we might have a homeowners up north for 6 months, and he might have a leak and not know it 4 months. No bit different. No one comes in and pays it for him. No different.
I don't think anyone is arguing that. I think there's a concern and a problem with coach home and condominium water. And I think that's what Jack, Lindy, and I will look into.
For 2021?
We'll start immediately and see if we can find out
We
what's.
have a motion, we have a motion on the floor.
Yes, and Chap has his hand up and he's
We're
asking
still
for the
discussing
floor.
it. Before we vote on the motion, at the risk of being redundant, I just want to make sure everyone understands. Here are the facts. Number one, the condo water use is going to be in the neighborhood of $20,000 worth in budget for 2020. Number two, I have no idea where the budgeted number for 2020 came from. I was not the treasurer.
Yes, you were.
No, I was not.
You were treasurer a year ago.
Was I?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Well, then I guess I blew it. Number three, the problem for 2021, the budget for 2021 has been adjusted to take into account the reality of the last 2 years. So those are the facts, other than the fact, I guess, that I misbudgeted, or one of us misbudgeted the condo water budget for 2020. Sorry about that. So that's all I have to say. We can vote on the motion.
John,
Yeah, well, I'm not gonna argue about the misbudgeting. All I'm concerned about is if we have an overage, why does the homeowners, the single homeowners, have to make it up rather than the people in the condos and coach homes?
Mark,
Well, the restaurant is over budget by $20,000. Are we going to assess everybody that $20,000 in order to make the budget even? No. we can take the money out of tennis because they're $20,000 to the good. I think what Chap is saying is that every year we make a budget. Sometimes we're above budget, sometimes we're behind the budget. That variance does not materially affect the cash position of the community. It does not materially affect your pocketbooks. It doesn't make us have to spend more money than we wanted to. In reality, the association's coffers are full. So for the board to go ahead and say, oh, you condo guys, we're over in water, you need to pay up. So we're going to bill all 304 of you $75 a piece, just so that we can have a break-even budget. That means that if any department is under budget, didn't make budget, is over budget, landscaping, whatever it is, then you can't sit there and say that you have to go out to those people and try to make the budget a zero break-even budget at the end of the year. Sometimes in the past, I've seen us have a $65,000 loss at the end of the year. We didn't do any assessments. We didn't do anything because there was no need for assessments. It's only a myriad that we were a variance to budget. I don't think that you folks are paying for, the single family homeowners are not paying for the condo water loss.
Yes, we are.
There's no
Sure we
more
are.
money coming out of your pockets than if it was, because
Okay.
No,
put it this way.
if tenants were charged 5%
All right,
G&A
hang on,
fees,
hang on,
and then
hang
they pay
I
on,
have,
hang
I have my
on.
hand up next.
I know you do. Mark is not finished. Then we'll
I'm
go to
saying that-
Brownie and then John Meehoke, then Lanny, then Jack, but let him
But
finish.
I understand. First of all, I understand what you're saying. What you're saying is, had the condo and water association water bill been properly budgeted to be $20,000 higher than it is today, and it was closer on to budget, that $20,000 that's currently in your homeowners association bill would not be there. But that's not the case. The condo associations are in their own $340 or $402, whatever it is, their base rate. They pay for their own water at all times. It did not affect the cost of your single family homeowners dues. You got to know that there's no line item in the budget for condo water sewer that applies to the single family homeowners. So if you're being charged $400 a month in Sanctuary Point, it did not mean that you are paying, oh, well, I'm paying $400. I should have been paying $395 because the condos didn't make it. No, and Cece, you got to help me out in here. Make sure that I'm saying the right thing. That is a church and state situation.
sounds good.
Again.
All right, bye-bye.
All right, Brownie,
Okay, again, let me point out, this is really an impossible budgeting item. This is an actual cost. It doesn't matter if we have $500,000 over budget. If we're going to do this, and each homeowner, I can turn in how much I ran over my budget for my water this year. And then the association, if we've got extra money, we should all get money back from the association. That's basically what this is a direct usage. This is not like tennis. It's not like the club. It's not like the pickleball that's open to everybody. This is specifically water that goes through the meter to the condo, just like the meter goes to your house. And if you run over, if you have a leak, if something happens, you pay for it. It's your responsibility. So the problem is we have something that's a direct cost to the condos in the budget. And now we're trying to spread that out to everybody because it happened not to be the right number. And again, just because we changed it in 2021, I guarantee you at the end of 2021, it may go either way. In other words, it may not be right because you don't know what the water is going to be. It's based on the actual usage. So this is the direct cost. Doesn't compare to all the other things in the dues. This is the direct cost. And if just because we have the money doesn't mean we pay for it. If that's the case, then I'd like to turn in the bill for how much Brightview has cost me in water. And since we've got the money, we can pay for that. Okay, same difference.
So if we had budgeted an extra $20,000 in this year's budget, no one would have been assessed or would be assessed this year. Is that correct?
Well,
The condo and coach homeowners would have paid that 20,000.
No, not if we budgeted for it.
Yes, you would have, because you pay that part of the budget.
Okay,
directly.
let's go to Jack.
Well, so if I use the food and beverage service more than you do, Brownie, should I have an equal portion of the loss for food and beverage, or because you choose maybe not to use it, then the loss
It's entirely
should be
different.
charged to you?
Eating in the dining room is open to everybody. It's a choice. It is not the same as the direct cost to you running through the meter. Okay.
Well, that's not true, because there's a.
Next you want to do is you want us to
beverage.
pay your electricity bill.
All right,
you know
let's
what?
hang on.
I'm done. I'm
Let's
done. I
not.
don't want to talk anymore about this.
Okay, let's not speak over each other. Let's go to Terry, then John Meehoke, then Lanning.
You know, everybody's making a good argument, but let's look at it from a different point of view. When's the last time that we've assessed anybody in this community? An assessment is a no-no as far as the community is concerned. And that's what I look at. Now, the $20,000 issue for this year has been taken care of finally after 2 years with a budget that should handle that. My problem is, if we assess these folks, does this open up a Pandora's box of assessing every time a line item doesn't match?
That's
If
my
we're going to
fear.
do that, we're in the wrong business.
That's my concern. John, then Lanning.
yeah, well, I understand that we assessed the people 2 years ago for the overage. And let's get back to Mark's comments. You know, when we're talking about all of the amenities that the community all use, sure, that comes out of the HOA fees. Now we're talking about paying for water for the condos out of the HOA fees. And sure, we have the money and it's not a line item, but does that increase our HOA fees every year so that we can support paying a water bill for condos? I don't think that's right.
Doesn't. It doesn't.
Okay, who's
And
next in
John,
the,
if you look at, if you just got the financial statement for November, you see that in the common area landscapings for Wildcat is over by $15,000 in common area landscape.
Precisely.
Is Wildcat, we're gonna assess Wildcat 143 homeowners for $15,000 because it will happen to be it's a direct cost and we're having to pay it out. But the problem is that when the budget was made prior to Brightview coming on, Wildcat's numbers were variant than the actual. So I don't think what it is, you guys, I don't know if you're trying to just put money back in the piggy bank that you can use somewhere down the road. It's not going to affect the 2021 budget. It's not going to affect the anything else. It's not coming out of your pockets. All the money that you folks have paid is already in the bank. It's not like you're going to get a dividend share at the end of the day for money that was spent or not spent. I don't understand why we would want to go after the condominiums. I realize that the HOA community spent $20,000 more in their funds to cover the cost of their water bill. I understand that. So if you're saying you want to assess the 304 people for their overage for that direct cost, then I think we have to look at the variance to the individual neighborhoods and find out Well, are they over and didn't make budget because maybe they had more irrigation line repair? Maybe they had more stuff that needed to be done that wasn't budgeted? Are you going to assess those people to make it whole? I don't think that it sets a horrible precedent for running down the road if we have to go back and forth about it. I understand your premise. I just don't know if it's really necessary to do at this board meeting because we haven't gotten the year-end numbers and your preliminary in your thing. We don't usually make any decisions about any of this until after we've received the audit, when we know all of the P's and Q's. We still haven't gotten the forgiveness on the loan. There's a lot of talk out there about the IRS about how the PPP loans are not being forgiven because of the use from expenditures. So I don't know if I want to go ahead and do anything to anybody at this point in time until we have the audit firmly in hand and we know exactly where we are at the end of the year.
Cezanne's had something.
Yes,
Cezanne's had something. Cezanne's had something to say.
Cezanne,
what we?
then Chap, then Lanning.
Okay.
I have to agree with Mark. First, it's premature to make any motions to do a specific assessment on the matter until you have year-end numbers. And just like Mark was mentioning, the neighborhood landscaping for single-family homes are also over budget because you guys approved Brightview to begin in February when we had Leo Jr.'s numbers plugged into the budget already. That was, we started back in June 2018. So it's premature to do any motions to approve a specific assessment or special assessment at this time. I think this is something the finance committee can review after we get year-end draft numbers and look over it with the auditors.
Chap.
We're down to really a principle thing, and I hear all the arguments. If we go ahead and either now or in January vote to bill the condos for the over budget on the water, remember that if in 2021, if they're under budget by $10,000, we got to write them a check. Is everyone okay with that?
We don't have to write them a check. We just adjust their assessment the next year. No problem.
Just as what?
We just adjust their assessment the next year.
Yeah, you can't do that.
Yeah, we can.
Well, I'm done.
Lanning.
For me, it is a matter of precedent, and I think it's important that we continue the precedent that we've set before. For example, I have from the spreadsheet of board motions, the fact that the board moved on February 23rd, 2017, that a one-time assessment to the condo coach home owners in the amount of $54.85 for 2016 water, sewage, and trash charges because there was an overage that year. I can find another one in a moment, but this is what we've typically done. The only year we didn't do it was last year. I disagree with Mark and Cezanne about neighborhood landscaping being the same category because it's not the same kind of consumption issue. We all benefit from everyone's yards being maintained. That's why we pay our neighborhood landscaping at average rates, not based home by home. And I think the same because many of us walk the neighborhood, bike the neighborhood, we all benefit from neighborhood landscaping just the way we all benefit from F&B, et cetera, et cetera. This consumable difference of private water use, our precedent as a board has always been, except for last year when there was the unusual double problem that was felt to balance each other, our precedent has been to charge for excess water, sewage, or trash charges when budgets were wrong. And I think that needs to be done again.
Well, I don't think it was a precedent if we did it one time and didn't do it another time. I think we have a budgetary issue here, number one. It's a problem with the budget. Number two, we have a problem with the water in particular. And I think Jack has recommended that we put a group together to study this so we have a better understanding of what's going on and why. And thirdly, I think to assess our neighbors because of this issue that we've created as a board because we didn't budget for this properly. I agree with Terry. It's just going to go wild throughout the neighborhoods. This doesn't make sense to me. I think we have a plan in place, and I think we need to study it before we start assessing our neighbors. Lindia.
Yes, I totally agree with that. I think we're being really selfish in this outlook of this. I don't look to see that you get more services in your yard than the next guy. If we have a leak in one of the condos or coach homes and it's on a Friday and we discover it, we have to get permission to have a plumber come in to do these things. And we have to go through Mark and we have to go through the administration. And they don't want, if we don't want to get someone in here on the weekends, if you can't get them in, you have to wait for Monday. And that leak is going all that time, where you as a homeowner, you can call your plumber up and get him in just like that. We have a problem here. And it's $20,000 this year. We're all going to pay more next year in the 2021 budget. I would think that that would be a small thing to ask our association to do. As far as the other amenities, we all have a right to do them and not do them. But just to be clear, if tennis was under budget one year, the tennis members were not assessed. So I just think we want to be careful here because you can get really picky-un about some of these things in the budget.
My recommendation is to move to table this item. We'll keep it active. Give us a chance with Jack's team to look into this so we can come back and have a further discussion about this. We'll also include the finance committee and see if we can get a handle on it. So we won't bury it. We'll just come back to it another time.
Yeah, I would suggest that you have somebody else make that table motion, Paul, because that would be normal.
That would be fine. I want to hear from Chap first, then I'll look for a motion to.
Well, that's okay with me, as long as Jack knows what he's supposed to study.
Well, I have to study what we know about the system and what ability we have to control leaks or excess water uses, or if it's a budget problem or if it's an engineering problem. That's what I'm trying to study. Okay.
Okay.
And
I just wanted to point out that I remember last year or the year before, it wasn't just leaks that we were concerned with, but they didn't budget the correct rate of water. They had that mixed up too.
well, I mean, all of these are
Right.
hypothetical conversations that people made presumptions without facts. And I'd rather stick to the facts before I tell you what's going on.
I move to motion to table the preceding motion.
Okay.
I remind you that that is a dangerous motion to make. It cannot be, let's see, it's supposed to be used to set something aside because some more urgent business has arisen.
I think we need more information. We
Well,
don't
the
have final
urgent business is
numbers.
that. First of all, if there's not a second, it won't follow. And then we vote on it.
It cannot be debated.
Well, then the motion is made. If we don't have a second, then we go back to the main motion.
I'll second it.
Mike
Okay,
Hargrove seconds it.
we have a second.
And then
We
we
need
can't
a-
debate it, so let's vote.
We need a majority vote.
Okay, and let's be clear, if you vote yes, you're dropping the issue for the day. If you vote no, then we go back and vote on the motion, right?
Correct.
That's
Okay.
right. We're tabling the motion. We're coming back to it if this is successful.
Well, we may or may
We're
not.
not getting rid of the motion. We're just trying to buy some time to study it.
Well,
That may or may not be true, Paul. Could be either way.
okay, no
Lanning
discussion.
happens-
We're
you're
supposed
right.
to vote.
So yes means what? Brownie?
Table the motion.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. All in favor of tabling the motion, please signify by raising your right hand.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, motion passes. All right,
Still-
Jack, you know
You
what to
still
do.
have to ask for the nays and get the names.
That's
still-
true. Those opposed? 3 opposed, Cezanne.
Could I
Okay.
make one point before we leave this?
Yes, you may.
And probably you'll be mad at me. I noticed the committee that you appointed to study what I think's not a problem is all condo and coach house owners. And the ones that are against it are the others. So I think someone like Lanny should be in that who kind of has the other viewpoint. We basically picked
I'm,
a committee that all have the same viewpoint.
I'm glad you brought that up, and I'll invite any of you that would like to join the committee to volunteer now.
I would volunteer at Lanny. I would like to do it, but working
would
her,
volunteer
frankly, I
Lanny?
don't have. I
How
don't
can
have
you
the time.
volunteer Lanny?
Because she always volunteers. But I
I'll
can't
do
do
it.
it.
All right,
I'll do it.
to your point, any other volunteers that want to join Jack?
You can only take 4.
Right,
Yeah. that's
Lanny's the 4th.
all. Lanny's the fourth.
okay. Okay, we lost Jack for a minute. Okay, so Cezanne, you've recorded the fact that we're tabling that and we'll come back to it in the future. Now, let's go to committee reports.
I have a family emergency and I have to leave the meeting, so I'm sorry.
Good luck.
Okay.
Good luck.
Well,
Okay.
before Jack leaves, Paul, is there anything else to vote on? Because I'm going to have to leave too. Is there anything else that's critical to vote on?
Well, I think we have the roof replacement contract
Yeah,
and the
but that's
paint
not-
contract. I don't
that's not-
see that. I don't see an issue there, but who knows?
Has anyone else got anything else that's going to require a vote before Jack and I leave?
I need to bring a new member on, but I don't think it's critical.
Lanny, do you have something?
I'm concerned about singing on Friday, so I'd like the board to not permit singing on Friday.
But that's not really.
Lindy, I'll give you my proxy.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's not really that controversial, I don't think, though.
Okay,
Well,
we have-
it may be,
we have-
but I don't
We have
know.
12, we have 12 people signed up for that, and there is no song sheets or anything being given out. We are playing the music. I suppose if somebody wants to sing along or hum along, that's their business, but it's not a sing along like it has been in the past with the chorale and the choir like we've done in the past.
Okay,
Okay,
again,
you've advertised it that way, so that's my
again, I don't, it
concern.
may be controversial. It's not a big issue. I'm going to go ahead and leave.
Okay,
Okay, sorry. I got to go ahead and leave. I got the call right now.
all right, Brian, and you sure you don't want to volunteer for that committee?
I would like to. I do not have the time and I couldn't put the effort into it. And I know Lanny will. And I know
Okay.
she'll represent the other viewpoint very strongly, Lanny. Okay. Okay.
Okay, very
Bye-bye.
good.
Bye-bye.
See you. Okay, let's go to tennis committee report.
Okay. The tennis committee is chaired by Rick Sanders and met outdoors on December 11th, December 11th, 2020. As of December 3rd, tennis membership has increased from 293 to 300, only 5 less than where we were a year ago. 35% of members are homeowners. Over the last 3 months, we've added a total of 30 promotional members, including 7 homeowners. 1 homeowner joined after participating in the free clinic held in October. As of now, the majority of our January renewals, and there's 79 of them, plan to renew their membership. Suzanne and Paul Barris project a decrease in homeowner income and an increase in non-resident income. This amount, however, is not sufficient to cover the $9,600 contribution to the reserve fund from tennis that is intended to be a contribution from non-resident members. The tennis committee did not get this information till after their meeting, and they plan to discuss how to deal with this in January. We are aware that Tarpon Cove is offering a $4,000 reduction for membership and has sent promotional postcards to Sterling Oaks members. The initiation fee is still $10,000 to $12,000. Pro Shop staff are contacting non-resident members to determine current satisfaction, and the response is overwhelmingly positive. We do not expect any significant loss due to the Tarpon Cove offer. Regarding COVID management, many players are following the new highly recommended precautions, and the tennis committee continues to be committed to increasing preventive actions as needed in order to keep the courts open safely.
Okay, very good. I need to commend you and the tennis committee for doing a fine job this year. I was very heartened by Chap's report. So thank you for your good work, and thank the tennis committee for the board.
I'll do that.
Okay, any questions of Lanny regarding tennis? Let's go, any old business, let's go
Chap
to
has a
Lanny.
question.
Oh, I'm
No.
sorry. Go ahead, Chap.
Lonnie and I talked yesterday. The result of all this is that there's going to be no change in 2021 for tennis dues. Correct, Lonnie?
If you indicated that your position is that we do not need to contribute to the reserve fund, and if we don't do that, there doesn't need to be any change in dues.
Okay.
The tennis committee still wants to talk about it.
All right. So as it stands right now, there's no contribution to the reserve fund, which means there's no increase in dues for tennis. What I would like is at the January meeting, Lanny, you tell us how non-resident members, how much non-resident members should be paying for as a contribution to the reserve fund, and how we want to go about collecting it. Okay?
Yes, that's the plan.
Okay.
Very good. Cezanne?
We have an activities committee report and then an ASC
Okay.
report also that didn't make it on the agenda.
Okay. Let's start with Michael.
Yes,
ASC.
yes, we've lost a member, Pete Leverson, off the committee, so we need to bring another person on. We've had a volunteer, Donna Weiss from Wildcat. We met with her this morning, and I think she'd be a good asset to the committee.
Excellent. Okay, so we'll take that as a motion.
Yes.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. You've vetted this person and the committee is happy and recommends her.
The committee has not met her, but I have met her in CSUN, and I vetted her this morning.
Okay, that's good enough for me. All in favor, please signify by raising your hand.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Michael.
7-0.
Okay. Activities Committee.
The Activities Committee met Friday, December 11th at 10:00 a.m. Nicole reported on past events. Thanksgiving dinner was provided via curbside delivery and was enjoyed by 58 happy customers. Food and beverage continues to provide Friday dinners curbside, as are lunches poolside. Cabana Bar and in the poolside pavilion, Wednesday through Sunday, 11 to 4. Cabana hours were extended Friday, December 11th for Friday dining outside. Entertainment was by Stacy Knight. The door decorating contest details were not finalized at this time. The notes were written, so we'll fill in the details now. And the details are that 4 doors were entered in the competition. 1 judge was selected. The winning door will be announced December 18th at the pool, where there will be cookies and festive beverages. And the music will be Pandora. The New Year's Eve dinner will be held in the clubhouse dining room, clubhouse bar, as well as the outside veranda. Number of reservations will be limited to provide social distancing in a well air-conditioned area. Doors will be open to veranda. Entertainment is provided by Larry Roberts, and the menu is a choice of prime rib fresh black grouper. It will not be hard to say goodbye to 2020 and welcome a bright, happy, and healthy new year. The book club will meet January 10th at 1 in a location to be determined. That will now be poolside. The book is in the evening and the morning by Ken Follett. Lynn Frankel will lead the discussion. Girls' Night Out is January 12th. Plans are being developed for chair yoga. The Elton John concert event was rescheduled for one night only and will be in February, possibly redesigned as an outdoor event. As I wrote these minutes, I used the names the activity committee recommended for the names of everything in the community. Going forward, we are all going to try our best to use these terms. We didn't try to get too gitchy with the names, and in many cases use names that were already affiliated with the locations. So what we often called the Tiki Bar, Pool Bar, Cabana, is now the Cabana Bar. What has been referred to as the new shade structure is now the poolside pavilion. The dining room in the clubhouse is now the club dining room, and the bar area is the club bar. The outside balcony area is now deemed to be the veranda, and outside events known by the name of the back lawn, or the lawn by the bocce courts, or by the tennis courts, or behind the clubhouse, is now the courtyard. On the lower level, we will still refer to the fitness as the fitness center, and the multi-purpose room is now the activity center. This concludes my report.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's go to Terry, then Mark, then Lanning.
Yeah, this is for Mark more than Linda. Is there any progress towards reopening the clubhouse facility as far as staffing is concerned, which was a problem last month?
We're working on that. We are cautiously optimistic that we'll be able to move forward. And we are looking at New Year's Eve as being the first sort of indoor-outdoor. What we want to make sure everybody understands is that we're going to have the sliding glass doors open, and that there'll be plenty of fresh air moving through and without that room. We are capped at 54 people, which is less than 50% of the space. This is because we do have tables who are reserving that are deuces, and so therefore they have to be socially distanced. That reduces the amount of people that can be in the room. And that way, if people do want to sit on the veranda, they can sit close to the open doors, but those sliding glass doors will be open that night. We will hopefully by then have some patio heaters to assist us if it is a little cooler in nature. But we know that the Aeon system that was installed as a part of the clubhouse renovation is an extremely well-oiled machine that is computer driven, that really blows fresh air from the outside into the air conditioning ducts. It processes that. Then it has this electrostatic ionizers that freshen the air, that actually disinfect it, and then it cools it down before it goes into the room. This is on at all times, and I can say that at a $40,000 plus piece of machinery sitting in your attic, it really does a great job. And this was mandated by the county for fresh air considerations, which is going into all new buildings. So I would say to the people out there that if they're interested in coming in, we only have 12 more seats available. And so that's like 6 couples. If you would like to join us, great. And we do have some people that have asked to sit close to the outside. We've had people that have asked to sit outside. So We're trying to do everything we can to accommodate that. And if that turns out to be a successful night, then we'll move forward because we do have entertainment booked as a part of the original budget. So,
Specifically to John Andolino and his wife, it sounds like we're moving in the right direction. And I thank you for that, Mark.
Okay, Lanny.
Lindy, I just wanted to clarify, it sounds like that means that you were disbanding the use of the Oak Room, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay,
Okay, any other questions of Lindy? If not, let's move to old business, and Lanny, you have something to bring up.
yeah, I just wanted to give my monthly COVID report to start with. First of all, things are worse than they were last month. I've added on the sheet that I sent you a little bit of very local information, including the fact that we have had 318 deaths here in Collier County. We've had over 1,000 new cases this week, including 11 deaths this week, 19 deaths in Lee County, over 2,000 cases in Lee County. And I pulled out a couple of the local zip codes, nearly 1,000 here in 34110 and nearly 2,000 in Bonita Springs. More details are available everywhere. I think one thing of interest is the White House COVID Advisory Task Force has been critical of Governor DeSantis for allowing the indoor dining that we have going on here. And he's been pretty strongly ridiculed around the country, although that's his position. He seems to be one who believes in attempting to achieve herd immunity through increasing infection and deaths. In terms of recommendations, I again have to recommend that this, we're at way too dangerous a level to be having indoor dining. Mark, I have a question. Will the front and side doors be open as well as the sliders so that there's cross ventilation on New Year's?
I have not discussed that.
Okay, if you're going to do it, I recommend against it, but if you're going to do it, be sure you've got cross ventilation, because just having windows open on one side does not promote airflow. You've got to have both, some cross ventilation. My other question to you is, last month I recommended that we get a CO2 monitor specifically to be checking the air in the fitness center. Have you done that?
Yes, I ordered it. It's just taking its time. It should be
Okay,
here.
Great. Thanks for ordering it. I appreciate that.
It's Amazon delivery, and they sometimes are right there, and sometimes they are back ordered because of demand on the product. So, but it did show me that tracking is set for, I think it's either this week or next.
Thank you very much. I think that'll be, very helpful. And definitely encourage you to plan to use it on New Year's, although I wouldn't think it would be an issue there. The gym I am concerned about. As I mentioned earlier, singing is an extremely high-risk activity, and I hope that nobody participates in that on Friday, and I'm glad to hear that you've got Pandora going on there. Last month we voted to limit participation in the fitness center to 8 people, but I haven't seen that posted anywhere. Am I missing it, Suzanne, or has it not been posted?
I don't believe that got approved, but I'll look at the minute.
It did get approved, and it needs to be posted. We also, as we've said, talked about sauna. And so I will move again that we limit participation in the sauna to 1 family unit at a time.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes
Thank you.
unanimously.
In terms of masks, just for education, I just want to remind everyone that CDC has clarified that exhalation valves do not protect others. They may make it easier on you, but if you wear a mask with an exhalation valve, you are contaminating those around you. So please don't use those, and use masks with 2 or more layers. The gator type nylon ones that a lot of the coaches and players use are not very effective at all, and we are highly discouraged by CDC and others.
Tell me about the vented ones again.
The ones that have a vent allow you to breathe out. That then breathes the germs on the people around you.
I see. Yeah, that makes
so
sense.
they protect you, but they don't protect those around you, so that they are not recommended if you care about not infecting other people. Michael? You're muted. You're muted.
They will stop you at the airport if you have one of those vented masks on. They will not let you on a plane with those.
Oh, good to know.
Lanny, since this
Yes.
whole COVID thing started,
Yes,
given all the precautions we've tried to take here,
yes.
how many COVID cases have we had with Sterling Oaks residents? Do you know?
I'm sure there's people who haven't told us. So
Yeah.
I know I don't know. I know of 4, but I don't know how many more that there have been that we don't know about. I mean, I
All right,
expect
thank you.
that there's many more. And
Thank you.
especially, I think there's many more people who needed to quarantine because they were exposed to someone who had been infected.
Thanks.
Sure. I also have noticed that we don't have a sign for the indoor, for the bathrooms, since those are indoor facilities. People should be wearing their masks in the bathroom. So we really need a sign posted on the outside doors going into bathrooms, indicating that masks are required to meet the Collier County Code. You know, I will keep you posted. We'll see what happens. I, again, you know, recommend that it's not the time for indoors, but I know I'm in a minority. So thank you for letting me educate.
Okay. Now we go to new business, Wildcat Cove Villa. Who will take this?
Well,
John, go ahead.
okay, for next year, we're scheduled to have 1 villa roof replacement and 14 villa paintings to take place. And I'd like to make a motion that we approve DR Mantini to do the roofing and Heim Brothers to do the painting.
Okay, I need a second.
Second.
Second, just a clarification, DR Martineau is the company.
Yeah, I didn't know how to pronounce it.
Yeah.
My wife told me it was Canadian, and I couldn't speak French.
Okay, do we have discussion? If not, I'll ask for those in favor signify by saying aye and raise your hand. Aye.
Aye.
Those who are not in favor signify by saying nay. Michael, which way did you go? Michael is frozen.
I froze up.
Yeah. So you're good with the motion?
Okay.
Okay, here we go. Okay. So we're all set on that. So we move to date of the next board meeting, January 28th at 1:30.
Paul, can I bring up one more new business?
Sure.
Okay, I would like to thank Mark and everybody involved in helping us make Elias Brothers, who are doing the roofs and the condos and coach homes, clean up the mess that they left. I know Elias Brothers did some of the homes, but I never heard any complaints about them damaging sidewalks or damaging the driveways or leaving junk around or doing shoddy workmanship. But for some reason, they decided at the condos and coach homes that they could do that. So this has still been unresolved. I know the ASC went and looked at it, at some of the debris left and some of the poor workmanship, and maybe Michael can speak to that, but we do need that kind of oversight when contractors come into our community. Michael, do you have anything to add about that?
Well, I think I reported on that at the last meeting, how shoddy the work was, and we couldn't define where driveways started and roadways started. I was over there 2 or 3 days ago, and it looks like they're working on it, and they've been putting some asphalt at the end of the driveways to better define them. And a lot of the cement debris has been cleaned up off the pavement as well, but I didn't really look closely at it. So maybe we need to make another round of inspections there.
Sure. Well, what I was concerned with was we had all paid from the condos and coaches homes associations. We all paid to have the road paved, and then they left it looking a lot worse than it was when they rolled in. So, I mean,
I think, Michael, it would be helpful if you took another look at it, particularly when they've claimed they've finished. And then just check with the owners there, and I think we would all appreciate that, and I know they will.
Okay, we'll take care of that.
Thank
Good,
you.
thank you. Thank you for bringing that up, Linda. Okay, with that, chat.
I just want to remind everyone to keep in the back of your head for when we get back to this condo water thing in January. This does not mean that we would have to write a check to anybody to cover the water overage at the condos. We've been paying that all along. And the second thing I just want to say, it's an admonition. There are good reasons to assess the condo people for water. And we'll get back to it in January. But I want to plead with everyone not to try to control every item in the budget to the budget for the year. That would require a supercomputer to deal with that. So see you next meeting.
Okay, thank you all. And we'll look forward to January 28th at 1:30. So I need a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
Michael seconds, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you all again.
Happy holidays, everyone.
Happy holidays.
And you.
Yep, happy holidays.
And a safe one.